Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we are going to talk about Dungeons and Dragons, and we are going to talk about patterns for adventuring. So, I have really been and we're going to talk about all this in context. I think that there's been a pattern for adventuring that has been revealed by Reacher Season 2. So first of all, if you are not aware, Amazon Prime has a banger of a hit. Now, of course, this isn't their only banger of a hit. They also have Vox Machina, which is absolutely worth watching. Not a perfect show, but pretty darn good and full of Dungeons and Dragons goodness and about nothing else. Okay, so basically, Reacher 2 is really very, very powerful new television that I think shows the most perfect pattern for adventuring. So with player characters, we adventure, right? Now, what do we do? What is the pattern, right? Now, of course, it's totally okay to be extemporaneous. It's totally okay to be innovative, but there are patterns, right? Like, we play a lot of sessions and we play a lot of campaigns, and there's a point where, patterns are going to emerge. So what is the pattern for successful adventuring? Well, I think it was perfectly displayed in Reacher Season 2, and that pattern is when Reacher is the leader of a Dungeons & Dragons group in the show Reacher in Season 2. He's in charge of the 110, right? And I think they're an army division, and they are investigators who investigated corruption in the army, right? And so, investigating corruption in the army, basically you need to find the corruption, and then you need to prepare to take down the people who are being corrupt, and then you need to execute. And that's what Reacher says. There's a point where they're going on an adventure, essentially, and one of his, underlings, his subordinates say, and this is when he's in the civilian world, but he's working with his military team. He's no longer in charge of them by authority, but he's in charge of them by influence, right? He has such a huge, important influence in their lives that he's no longer their leader by the authority of the U.S. government or the military. He's in charge of their lives because he's had such massive influence, and everybody who served under him has been able to use the skills that he taught them, the nobility that he displayed, the honor that he displayed to catapult themselves forward in society. And so he says to his underling, she's like, one of his underlings is like, subordinates, that maybe that's better than underling. It says, the bad guys are lined up. Maybe we shouldn't do this. And he says, we investigated, we prepared, now we execute. And I was like, whoa, that's a pretty good description of what an adventurer should do. So, you're going to go into the dungeon. You go to the town and you say, hey, what's going on in those hills up darn there? You do investigation, right? Then you prepare. Like, you ask around, you determine what's going to be in the dungeon, right? You go get your 50 feet of rope. You make sure that your pack is completely geared out. You make sure that your sword is sharpened. You make sure that your spells are literally prepared. You prepare, and then you execute. You go down and you slay the goblins. You slay the dragon, right? It is that simple. It is very hard and fast. We investigate, we prepare, now we execute, right? Good advice for adventuring might be pretty good advice for just life. Every single word you just heard is my humble opinion. What's important is when I get to hear your humble opinion, when you get in the comments and send your traffic.